Hello, it's Leslie here again. Today I thought I'd do a quick language update uh, progress. So I've been watching a couple of new series. One is 000, which is, I thought it was going to be all Italian, but it actually turned out to have three languages in it: Italian, English, and Spanish, which was good. And overall, I liked. I'm going to talk a little bit about this movie now. It was about um, the sort of criminal underworld, like a drug shipment thing, which is fine. And, I don't take any drugs apart from caffeine. So I've watched other series. I don't tend to like things that are too much drug use or too much sex or anything like that. Um, anyway, I've watched the series Breaking Bad, and that was good and everything. Uh, but I don't tend to like too much violence, and that's where I found that it was a little bit too violent for me. 000, and the cast was good. The roles that they all played were good. The acting was good. The sets and the locations were good, and the story was good, and they went to different places, and then the story sort of was asynchronous, I suppose. It was, or atemporal, or whatever you call it. It would cut, and then it would show the same scene again, but then it would follow a different actor, which I thought was kind of weird, but good. So I watched it all within a week, and it was probably my first trilingual movie that I've watched, and it was all good, although I was mainly watching it for the Italian content, and there wasn't that much Italian in it. But I mainly was disappointed with the violence. I thought it was a bit too violent, and I might just be getting old, but I think it would have been better without so much graphic detail. And it's not even that violent compared to other things, but I'm just I think what's happened is English shows are getting more and more and more violent all the time. And it's becoming normalized. And I've been watching other languages for the past 5 years, and I've just come back to this one English. It's half English, right? And I've just realised, well, it was a bit too much for me to say that I really enjoyed it. You know, I think it would have been better without that much, without just to tone it back a bit, because I think these directors or whoever it is tries to shock people with with violence and sex scenes all the time, and eventually, like, where does it end? Because if we're going to have it all the time, more and more violent, more and more sex, then what about the actual story? And so I try not to watch too many things like that are criminal things, although they're very interesting. But I've been watching other things that are a lot more like comedies and things, and I'm not quite used to that. So, anyway, mm, it's a good show, but I just think it would have been better. It didn't need to be that violent, and it wasn't even. It's not even. I've heard some other things, like, I don't even watch a lot of things, but I've heard, for example, that Squid Game, whatever, is very violent, and I chose not to watch it because I thought, well, you know, I don't want to. I don't. I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in maybe thrillers, but not horror. Horror. I'm interested in crime and detective things, but not necessarily just gore for the sake of it and blood. It just doesn't do anything for me. I'm getting too old, I think. Anyway, I also wanted to say this because I think that it used to be when I was young, foreign movies had more sex scenes in them, and if anything were more violent. And now I think it's English shows tend to be, they're all MA or whatever. I don't know. So anyway, so I've been doing that. I've also I've also started a few audio programs. Pimsleur Finish, which I'm about 5/6 of the way through, at least 3/4. Yeah, I've only got a couple of hours to go, so that's all good. And I've actually just bought, because that's going quite well, I've actually bought the new Pimsleur for Japanese, so I'm going to start that soon. And I may have mentioned in one of my recent videos that I found this program, Japanese complete course with Paul Noble, I think it is. That is very good, and I'm halfway through that, and I think it's really good. I might do a separate review on it, but it has made me more positive, made me feel more positive and optimistic about learning Japanese, because if you have actually listened to what I'm saying in the last few videos, I was getting a bit pessimistic with the thought of Japanese, me learning it, and I thought, is it just me or what? But I think it's just a question of I had the wrong, not so much the method, I had the wrong resources. See, if you have the wrong resources and it's too difficult, or if it's too difficult, you lose sort of hope. And if it's too easy, you get too bored and don't progress. So it's nice to be in the exact right level where you progress, and it's hard enough that you're learning new things all the time. But I just wasn't able to find that sort of thing in Japanese, and it was getting me a bit down, and I was thinking this is never going to work. So I found that missing program in Japanese with Paul Noble, and I'm doing it. I think it's good. I'll do the second one. It's a 12-hour long course, so the first one, so it's pretty long. I've already given it a 5-star review on Audible, even though I'm not finished yet. And I'll be reviewing it separately, the Paul Noble course, because I think it's worth it. If you're still listening to what I'm saying, I do intend to keep uploading stuff about Russian. I've seen a few people unsubscribe from this channel, and I think it's because they think I'm going to abandon Russian and focus on Finnish, and that's not true. I'm still listening to Russian all the time, and I'm still, for example, at the moment I'm listening to, or watching rather, The Servant of the People, the show with Zelensky, and I'm up to about episode 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, the computer remembers where I'm up to. So I might just mention here as well that, you know, when, because it's not worth making a separate video for, but when I'm in the beginning of learning a language, and it's very hard, most of the time, most of the things I don't understand. Like, it depends how much study I've done beforehand. I try to have about maybe 500 words up my sleeve knowledge before starting to watch anything, so that it doesn't feel impossible. But what I wanted to say here was that when I started watching the first show in Russian, for example, which was Kitchen, I didn't know what was going on. And I maybe understood 5 or 10% of it, right? So it was very difficult. The first few episodes especially, and the whole first season was actually rather difficult. But I didn't look up every single word that I didn't know. I looked up the words that appeared the most frequently. And also what I wanted to say here is that it might not be obvious, but I found certain characters more interesting than other characters, or I found them easier to understand. Maybe they spoke more clearly, or I don't know what it was. For example, one of the actresses, I forget her name now, I think it was Nastya. I found the waitress in Kitchen more interesting than, say, the two chefs, because the two chefs used a lot of slang and they weren't as clear for me to understand as some other characters. So basically, I tried to understand. I picked one character, say it's Nastya, and Anastasia, and I tried to understand everything that she said, and maybe not understand everything that another character said, the one who owned the restaurant, I thought he was a good character too. After a while, I realized he was a good character, so I started following everything he said. But the two chefs, I wasn't able to follow them. And then, so what I do is, say Nastia comes on and said something. If she said something and then emphasized a certain word, like emphasized it, I would definitely look up the word that she emphasized or said with a lot of emotion. And so that's how I did it. So, because it's very hard, isn't it? If you're watching something for, I don't know, 20 hours and you only understand 5 or 10% of it in the very beginning, practically nothing, it's very tedious. So you have to try and make it more accessible and interesting, and so that's the way I did it. I picked certain characters and I'd only look up what they said. Well, I didn't only look up what they said, but I looked up more of what they said than the two chefs, because the two chefs might have mumbled, or they might have been used a bit more slang, or it might not have even been that important. But so so that's what I often do now. Same with Channel Rain, for example. When Channel Rain in Russian was on, I would always look up. I would look up what Anna Mongait said. I'd be more interested in what she said than the person she was interviewing. So that made me cut. Like, say their stream was 2 hours long, I might only watch little segments where she spoke, and it might have only been 20 minutes that I would take the highlight from a 2 hour stream and just listen to what she said on her own. And so that's what I recommend you do, is you pick someone that you think, that's an interesting person, I want to know what they say. Then it's not quite so overwhelming as not understanding everybody. You're trying to understand certain people only, and just getting a little segment of the overall thing. So that's where I'm at now. I'm going to continue with my languages. I will continue uploading stuff about Russian, but that's not the only language I'm interested in, and this channel is mainly learn a language with Leslie, not learn Russian with Leslie, because I'm not Russian and I don't feel that I should be teaching Russian. I think I don't mind making some videos about Russian vocabulary, but I certainly not qualified enough to teach Russian in general, like the grammar. I don't know what I'm doing. So I mainly wanted to have this channel to show you a lot of things that might pique your interest or your curiosity, that you go, there's one show that if you're a nurse, you might look at the nurses one, or if you're you know what I mean. If you're interested in one of those series, or if you're a chef, you might be interested in the cooking one, or whatever. Or if you're a police officer, you might be interested in one of the detective one. I don't know. But I think there's almost 100 series there to choose from now, in Russian anyway. So the idea is to give you more choice so that you're more interested in one of them, and then of those you might be interested in one of the characters more than the others. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll continue to upload things, but I'll upload more from other languages too, because I'm interested in not just Russian, but maintaining other languages as well and learning new ones. And it's really about the method of the method that I use to learn them. And that's why I say learn a language with Leslie, not learn Russian or learn Finnish with Leslie. I don't feel qualified enough to teach foreign languages. I don't want to teach foreign languages, believe it or not, because I'm not a native speaker of those languages. And I don't even feel qualified enough to teach English. I mean that I wouldn't really want to be an English teacher either. So there's plenty of English teachers out there. I don't study literature or anything like that. And in if you want to teach English, you really have to be. I think you have to be really good at English. So uh, I mainly wanted this channel to be about learning a language from another language learner's perspective, and giving you more exposure and more choice about things to choose from. Like, for example, I keep mentioning it, but if you look at my subscriptions feed on the channels tab, you'll see literally hundreds, 1,000 channels that I'm subscribed to. So the next video I make will probably be about my YouTube feed, and I'll show you what my YouTube feed looks like, because I've tried to get rid of all the English content. Anyway, I've been talking for a while now, so I'm feeling rather positive this week. I went for a drive yesterday, was it? No, 2 days ago, and I studied Finnish for 4 hours in one day. So I was quite pleased with that. There's a lot more than I usually do. I usually just do. I try to tell myself to do 20 minutes or half an hour. I don't even have a definite plan now with my language learning. I just sort of try to look at languages throughout the day on my computer and YouTube. And then at night time, I go to my television room, and I don't even have a set plan like I'm going to listen to Russian and Italian today. I just think I've got all these series I'm half watching, and I sort of think, well, what do I feel like watching now? A bit like how you might do it in English, without really even having a plan. You just think, I'm going to have a look now. And so long as I do something, I feel like I'm making progress. The other thing I'll mention really quickly, I might have mentioned that I'm going to start learning Finnish, or continue with Finnish, learning Peppa the Pig, because Peppa the Pig is about the level I'm at, where I can't understand most of it, but it doesn't seem impossible to me, and it's fun to watch, and it's slow. They speak relatively slowly. So Peppa the Pig I've chosen as the one, and there's also another cooking show that I've chosen. Now, the thing is, I spend quite a bit of time looking for new channels in foreign languages. I spend a massive amount of time looking for foreign content, and I found this Sesame Street in Finnish, and I thought, am I going to subscribe to this or not? And eventually I thought, no, I'm not going to subscribe to that, because I wouldn't want to watch that in English, whereas Peppa the Pig is more watchable. So I think if you're not going to watch it in English, you don't watch it in a foreign thing. So Sesame Street doesn't interest me, so I'm not going to watch that in Finnish. So that's all I have time for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.